and welcome to Plan Patterns. My name is Josefine and today I'm going to show you how to make the Jorun leggings step by step. So this is the Jorun pattern. It's available in paper format, as you can see here, in 2 size ranges, or you can choose to buy the PDF pattern. Both the PDF and the paper versions are available on planpatterns.com. So go there if you haven't already gotten this pattern, make sure to get it before we start. Then the first step is to choose your size. Go by your seat measurement, so the roundest part of your butt. This is where the most of the fit is going to be, so to say. The waist is very easily adjusted, so it's larger or smaller, and you can also adjust how long your elastic at the waist is. So just choose the size that's closest to your seat measurement. And then either cut out your size or trace it, whatever you want to do. If you have the PDF, you can cut it and then just print another one. If you have the paper pattern, I would suggest tracing out your size so you don't damage your pattern. If you have the paper pattern, you will find a little instruction booklet in the package. If you have the PDF version, you will have this booklet but in PDF format. So this is really handy to have alongside when you make this project. You have everything you need here. So you can see the size chart, see how much fabric you need, which size to choose, and some tips and tricks. This pattern is made for a 4-way stretch jersey. You can choose a lightweight cotton jersey, a single jersey. You can choose a viscose jersey, a punta fabric, French terry, anything that's stretchy enough. So some fabrics you may find they stretch just on the cross grain, and that's not going to be comfortable in this pattern, and it's going to be quite small in size. So choose something that stretches this way, this way, this way, and this way. So you can always try it. You have a piece of fabric and you can play around a bit. I also have a stretch calculator in the pattern, so in the instructions you can put a piece of fabric and try if it's stretchy enough. Depending on which view you're gonna make, you're gonna need less or more fabric, and depending on which size. So check the required amount of fabric carefully before you choose which fabric to choose. Also make sure to wash your fabric before you start. So today I'm going to show you view A and view C. View B is very simple. It's exactly the same as view A but shorter. So it's like a bike short version. But I'm going to make the full length leggings, view A, and then I'm going to make view C, which is this 70s inspired flared legging. So for view A, I'm going to use this rib knit that's like a petrol color. I think this is going to be really nice paired with printed dresses and stuff. So you can just, if you have a really loud print in a dress, you can pair it with this and it's going to look really nice. And also these are nice for the winter months in Sweden where it gets really cold, so these will keep my legs warm. And I'm going to use this gorgeous viscose jersey for the flared view C. So I haven't made view C in a viscose jersey yet, so that's going to be really interesting. I have only made it in like a thicker rib knit or ponte, and they turn out really nice, really flattering with this thick fabric, but I think it's going to be really comfortable in the viscose jersey. So I really look forward to these ones. You will also need waist elastic. So I use a 4 cm wide elastic that I buy on a roll like this. And you're gonna want to try this. If you're using high waist or mid-rise, you're gonna need a different length. So just try it on yourself I have a suggested length of elastic, and you can start with that length and see how you like it. Some people like their elastic a lot tighter and some like it a bit more loose. So it's completely up to you how you want it to fit. You will also need matching thread. So choose something, if you have a printed fabric like I do with the viscose jersey, choose the background color, that's what I usually do. So I am going with like a navy blue thread. And for the petrol I chose the thread I had in my stash, which is closest to this color. It's a really hard color. I find turquoise fabric and petrol colors are really hard to match sometimes, or maybe it's just my thread stash isn't as good in that department as it could be. So I have all of my supplies and now I just need to start cutting. Seam allowance is already included in all the pieces, so just cut along the edge of the pattern pieces. I'm using a rotary cutter usually for my knit projects, because sometimes that's easier than using a pair of scissors. I have a large cutting mat and a rotary cutter, and I find this the easiest way for this type of project. Mark your notches. I cut a few millimeters into the fabric. And then we are ready to start sewing. So the first thing you're gonna do is choose if you want a high waist or a mid-rise waist. View A has a mid-rise built into it. I like that for my leggings. I don't want it to be too high. View B has a high waist. So you just copy the waist from view B to view A if you want a more of a high waist. But I'm gonna go with the original. We're gonna cut out our size and then we're going to sew the crotch seams. So you place your pattern pieces. You have two identical pattern pieces. You place them right sides together and you sew the back crotch and the front crotch. I'm using my overlocker. If you don't have an overlocker, you can use a zigzag seam on a regular machine and it works just as well. Now that the crotch seam is done, we're going to sew the inseam. We sew from one end to the other, right sides together. Make sure the seams line up at the crotch. Then we are ready to move on to the elastic. When you have decided how long you want the elastic to be, you add the seam allowance, because the elastic is going to be placed a bit on top of each other so it stays strong. You place it in a circle and then stitch as the diagram shows. Then sew the elastic to the wrong side of the leggings. Quarter the elastic and match up to the center front, center back and the side seams. When sewing the elastic to the leggings waist, stretch the fabric in between each pin so that the elastic is stretched out, matching the fabric. You can use an overlocker or a zigzag stitch on a normal machine. It's time to fold over the elastic twice. This encases the elastic in the fabric and it's completely hidden. Pin the waistband in place from the right side of the leggings. Then you're ready to top stitch it in place. I'm using a twin needle with my normal machine, but you can also use a zigzag, or if you have a cover stitch, this is a good place to use it. Make sure you're sewing through all of the layers and nothing is wrinkled underneath. Use the same technique to hem the end of the leggings. I'm using a twin needle once again. Then it's done! This is such a simple project. Now just press the hems and the waist, all of the twin needle or zigzag seams, so they lie nice and flat. And then view A is done. So if you make view B, it's exactly the same steps, but the legs are a lot shorter. Let's move on to view C. Start by cutting out your fabric. Marking your notches, and then place the front pieces right sides together. Then do the same to the back pieces. Place them right sides together, sew the crotch seam. Now you have the front pieces and the back pieces. And now we're gonna sew them together. So place them right sides together and sew the side seams. And then, making sure the crotch seams line up, we're gonna sew the inseam. Still right sides together. And then it's time for the elastic. Since I'm using a high waist on the view C leggings, this elastic is going to be a little bit smaller than on view A because it sits higher up on my body. You can try the elastic on, make sure you can move it over your hips and that it sits nicely on your waist or your lower waist. Make a circle out of the elastic and pin it to the wrong side of the leggings, just as we did in view A. So, quarter the elastic, match up with center front, center back and side seams. Just as before, you can use a overlocker or serger or a zigzag stitch on your regular machine. Fold over the elastic twice. The elastic will then be encased in the main fabric. Pin the waistband from the right side and top stitch using a twin needle or a zigzag stitch. Sew at the edge of the elastic all around the waist from the right side of the fabric. A tip when you're using a twin needle on your regular machine is if you don't have two spools of thread in the same color, you can always wind two bobbins, one for your bobbin and then one as another top stitch thread. So that way you have the required 3 rolls of thread. Use the same technique on the hems of the legs. Here we have a seam allowance of 1.5 centimeters or 5/8 of an inch. Fold it up, sew it with your preferred method. I'm using a twin needle, and then press. And then we're done with view C. This is also a very simple project. It's a few more seams than view A, but it's still very quick. So there you have it. This is the finished result, view A and view C. I hope you enjoyed this sew along. That's it for today, and until next time, happy sewing! Bye!